Here's to whiskey kisses, the peaty taste of sin. An Edinburgh morning with the smell of brewing on the wind. Here's to lighting bonfires as you watch the seasons turn. Here's to health to the secret.
It's whiskey time. Greetings, whiskey folk, and welcome back to Drinking Out Loud. I am your host, as ever, Adam Bradshaw, and it is an honour to have you back here on the Dram Association YouTube channel for yet another SMWS Canada Outturn. Yes, we do these every month, and it's always very exciting. This month, a little more exciting because we actually managed to have an in-person tasting this month. Actually, I shouldn't jinx it. At the time of recording, the tasting hasn't happened yet. So it's currently Friday. So it's exactly a week before the video goes live. It's currently Friday the 25th of February. And right this moment, we have every intention, every plan to have an in-person tasting on Thursday, March the 3rd. So all of these whiskies have already been revealed, and some of them have been released to the members that could make it to that tasting. However, as we started when we started these videos, we will be making sure that we always save some of the bottlings for our online release so that members who can't make it to our in-person Outturn preview tastings still have a chance at getting some of the creme de la creme of the Outturn releases, and they don't just get snapped up instantly at the tasting themselves. So, that being said, they're actually all available right now. All 7 of the whiskies that have been newly released this month are already available at strathliquor.com/SMWS. So, I would advise going there right now and seeing if there's anything that instantly takes your fancy and getting it right now. I'm about to tell you about all 7 whiskies. I'm about to give you my opinions, my impressions, and some information about these whiskies. However, by the time this video ends, you may have already lost your chance. So I recommend, at the very least, opening it up, taking a quick look, and having it ready so that if I do say something that resonates with you and you decide to go for one of these whiskies, that you have the best chance of picking one up. I guess on with the show, shall we? Whiskey number 1 today, the first whiskey of the March 2022 Outturn, is from the spicy and sweet flavour profile. It is cherries, sweets, berries, and treats. Love a little rhyming. An initial nose showed lime, coconut water, raspberries, hints of coal scuttle, wood char, baled hay, and heather honey. Beyond that, there were also cherry stones and soft waxes. With water, we found marzipan, orange zest in butter icing, new leather and polished wood, some green banana, frangipani, and chopped rhubarb. The palate was big, spicy, and juicy, with plenty of creamy coconut, flaked almonds, powdered sugar and muddled mint leaf, some popcorn, maple syrup, and a nice punchy hit of camphor and eucalyptus oil. With reduction, we found heather ales, pineapple, black pepper, muesli, and Bakewell tarts. Well, isn't that a lovely set of tasting notes to start off a tasting? We're starting off in the Speyside region. This is from a second fill ex-bourbon barrel that was filled on the 2nd of April 2009 and then aged for 11 years, an outturn of exactly 199 bottles, and this is coming to us at 55.9% ABV. And this is, of course, Distillery 91, cask 29. Very, very nice. So, quick note on the Bakewell tarts. I actually come from very close to Bakewell. Actually, I can't remember the name of it for the life of me right now, but there's actually a really good whiskey shop in Bakewell. It's a small, tiny little town in the middle of Derbyshire that's very well known for its tarts. So yeah, it's quite nice. It makes me slightly homesick to see the word Bakewell tart written down in one of these. I love a Bakewell tart. But as you know, there's many things I love from back home. I went on at length about one of them last month, Jammy Dodgers. So apparently that caught on. I actually really did inspire Kelly and Rob over in Edinburgh to have some Jammy Dodgers and Nando's. And they sent me a photo, which was really cool. But I actually got gifted a pack of Jammy Dodgers, would you believe it? So thank you very much to Irma Sultanovic, who managed to source me a pack of Jammy Dodgers direct from Scotland, actually, from Edinburgh, funnily enough. We opened one pack together and enjoyed a few together. I've finished that pack already, and I have a whole pack to look forward to as well. So thank you very much for that, Irma. Very, very nice of you. However, I do need to set the record straight because I made a mistake that if any British people did watch last month's tasting, they will have noted. Because apparently I've been away for too long. Jammy Dodgers never had creepy faces on them. And they also never had cream in them as well. It's just jam. It's just jam between two really nice sort of almost shortbready kind of biscuits. I was thinking of a slightly different cookie, which is called a Happy Face. And they're not very happy. They are creepy. I'm fairly sure I prefer Jammy Dodgers. I know for sure I like Jammy Dodgers. I had that confirmed for me a few days ago. Thank you again, Irma. But yeah, apparently Happy Faces is what I was trying to talk about last month. But anyway, Bakewell tarts, Jammy Dodgers, Happy Faces, they're all good. Let's try this whiskey. Cherries, sweets, berries, and treats. Lovely. Beautiful. So if you go to strathliquor.com/SMWS right now, as I said, you'll see all of these new releases, this one included. And this is available right now for $187.74. $187.74. And the first thing that comes to me on the nose is escaping me. What is that, Adam? What are you smelling? It's not lime. It's not grapefruit. It's not. I don't think it's an orange. Is it a lemon? Is it a Maya lemon, perhaps? No, I think it's a key lime. It smells like key lime pie. Yes, it smells like key lime pie. I don't know where key lime pie originates from. I always thought it was American. It might not be. It's a lovely nose. What else we got in here? I'm not sure what coal scuttle is. Coming from a coal mining village, I probably should know what coal scuttle is. Coconut water, raspberries. Oh, the initial nose showed lime. It's right there on the freaking first line, Adam. Well done. Yeah, raspberries. I can see raspberries. Yeah, raspberries and lime. It's a nice little sort of summer tart. It all comes back to dessert, doesn't it? It's funny how in whiskey you start with dessert and then end up having whiskies that taste more like, meat and barbecue and everything later on. It's like a backwards meal, isn't it, a whiskey tasting? Rhubarb? Yeah, I can see that. All right. Yeah, that's very pleasant. It's got a biscuitiness that's kind of reminding me of like a cheesecake base, like graham crackers or Teddy Grahams. I discovered Teddy Grahams recently. They're deadly. I also discovered goldfish. I feel like because I missed sort of growing up in Canada, I'm suddenly discovering all these things that Canadian kids enjoyed. I don't know what it is about kids wanting to eat things with faces, but they are delicious. What was it? Kristen was telling me the ad for, I think it was goldfish, was something about the snack that smiles back. It's terrifying. There's something a little vermouthy about this. Yeah. There's something a little bit of it, like a hybrid vermouth. It's like a red vermouth, but dry. It's like a dry red vermouth for some reason. I like that. Well, try it with a couple of drops of water, and I will tell you what distillery this is, because Distillery 91 is quite an interesting one. It's a distillery that is part of the trilogy of distilleries that make up the Singleton. Yes, the Singleton, which I've still not decided whether I class as 1 or 3. It's the Holy Trilogy distillery, right? It's now listed as one of the best-selling single malts, but it's one of 3 different. It's not really a single malt. I guess it's a conglomerate single malt brand. I don't know. Anyway, it's one of them. Dufton is it's one of the Singleton distilleries. But rather interestingly, and I didn't realise this until I was just looking up some information about it right before this video. Actually, I didn't realise that it was one of the distilleries that actually had the honour of having a sister distillery built across the road from it. I don't think it ever shared its name like some of them did. I'm thinking like Clynelish and some of the other distilleries that ended up having to change their name after they brought in the rule to say that 2 distilleries couldn't share a name, which surely that rule should come to Singleton anyway. But yeah, they actually had their own second distillery built across the road from them, a distillery called Pittivayak, or I assume that's how you pronounce it. I've never really had that one confirmed or denied because it doesn't come up very often. I guess I've got to find someone from the Speyside region to confirm or deny the pronunciation of Pittivayak, but it could be, I don't know, Pittivayak, Pittivaish, maybe, I don't know. Whatever it is, I look forward to trying one later this year. We actually have some hanging around in the back of the Strath waiting for a special event to release, so I look forward to that. In the meantime, though, this is a delightful neighbour to that distillery. The wonderful Dufton. Can't get enough of that wonderful Duff. Simpsons, that's where that's from. Okay. Lovely. All right, well, like I said, it's already released, it's already online. $187.74 is the price. Go get them. If you're already a member, then it's fair game. If you're not already a member, well, it is eligible for the deal of any whiskey that is over $180. You can actually become a member by purchasing it. So if you're not a member and somehow you're watching this video and you think this is the whiskey for me, I want to join this club, you can head to strathliquor.com/SMWS, put one of these in your basket there, and it'll give you a little form to fill out of becoming a member for the first time, and we will welcome you with open arms into our whiskey community here at the Strath and globally with the SMWS. Your membership is good worldwide, something I'll be taking advantage of in a few months when I head to Edinburgh. I'm finally going, guys. I'm going back to Edinburgh. I'm going to visit the vaults. I'm going to visit Holyrood Distillery as well. It's going to be lovely. Whiskey number 2 today is the Happy Ponderer. A pure, punchy, and wonderfully naked example of this underrated and charismatic distillate. The nose showed initial notes of fresh paint, metal polish, soot coal scuttles, and more fragrant notes of soft waxes, gorse bushes, balsa wood, and oily canvas. Water brought out chalky notes, pithy lime zest, herbal medicines, dried mint, camphor, and white mushrooms with a petrichor earthiness. The neat palate was superb upon arrival, full of rich, fatty, oily, textural, distillate-driven whiskey. Buttery cereals, sweet grains, caramelized oatmeal, camphor, lamp oil, lanolin, medical vapor rubs, and lemon cough drops. With reduction, we got sweeter medical notes, bacon fazzle crisps, burlap, pumpkin seed oil, white truffle, and umami paste. Superb. Nice. I didn't know you could just get umami in paste form. That's quite cool. Bacon frazzles are a fantastic thing. They're made by the same guys that make Scampi fries and Cheez-Its or Cheezies or whatever they're called. If you've ever been to a pub in the UK, you'll see how they have bags of chips and various other snacks hanging from cardboard on the wall behind the bars. You just pull them off, and when it's empty, you just put a new thing. It's kind of like a weird chip bag communal advent calendar thing going on there. But yeah, it's great. It's just one of the most common ones to find. Love them. They look like tiny little strips of bacon. They're adorable. Yeah, this is a very exciting one for me because this is a distillery I've never even had before. To the best of my knowledge, I mean, ever. We've never had it in the SMWS in Canada before. It's Distillery 18, and it's only the 38th bottling of Distillery 18, which is kind of weird if you think about it. Like, SMWS has been going since, 1983? And in that time, they probably bottled 18.1 in the 80s. And this is the only the 38th that we've had since then. It's crazy. But yeah, this is aged for 13 years in a second fill ex-bourbon hogshead, which for this style of whiskey, I'm expecting that to be a fantastic choice. It's even the notes say it's going to be very distillate forward, which is what I'm looking for in this style. It's from the Speyside region, but it's actually from right on the coast in the Speyside region. So I'm thinking theoretically it's going to share a lot of flavour profile in common with Clynelish, and maybe to a certain extent Tea and Ninick as well. Two of my favourite distilleries. So I'm really looking forward to discovering potentially a new favourite. This was distilled on the 18th of September 2007, 13 years old, and was bottled at 61.3. Only 236 came out of that hogshead, and yeah, I'm going for it. I'm gonna crack open the first ever bottle of 18.38 brought into Canada. This is really cool. All right, a very satisfying pop. Yeah, that is. Dare I say slightly Celine-esque on the nose, actually. Might all be my mind, because, I know that it's a coastal distillery, but it does smell a little bit coastal. Alright, what am I looking for here? Metal polish. Again, soot coal scuttles. I still don't really know what that is. Should have looked it up in between shots. Yeah, there is a bit of a fresh, honeycomb wax going on there. It's not old, it's not dusty old candles or anything. It's a very fresh, soft, malleable kind of wax. And it reminds me of painting. It smells like oil paints, and almost a little bit like canvas. Yeah, I really enjoyed the nose on that. I'm going in for a sip. Sláinte. Wow. Does that have a taste like Brazil nuts? Like smoked Brazil nuts. Like, it's not smoky, but it has that. I like the bacon, actually. Bacon is the perfect thing for it. It's not smoky. It's just bacony. It's salty. It's salty bacon Brazil nuts. Bacon wrapped Brazil nuts. Now, what is that? What else is there? That is really interesting. Oh my. That is super cool. Here it is again. There's something incredibly familiar. Let's see if anything in the official notes can throw me a bone here. I'm having a hard time trying to figure out what it is. It's not exactly meaty. It's not exactly nutty, but it's in that sort of very umami. It's an umami paste. It's in that very umami-centric area. I'll go back for more ones. It's an oil of some kind. It is. It's a cooking oil. It's not olive oil. I think it's avocado oil. No. Walnut oil? It's not really a cooking oil. Sesame. It's sesame. It's tahini. Oh, cool. Yes. It is roasted Brazil nuts wrapped in bacon and then drizzled with a sort of tahini sauce. I'm making myself hungry. With pumpkin seeds. This is a really, really interesting distillate. I'm quite taken by it, to be honest. So, yeah, this is available right now at stratliquor.com for $199.91. And like I said, this is the first ever release from this distillery by the SMWS Canada. And I hope it's not the last, because I really, really like this. I really, really like this. And if you're wondering, like, what the heck distillery is 18? Like, there can't be that many distilleries that I've not had, right? And you're right, like, there's very, very few distilleries that I can't, like, confidently say I've definitely had before. But Inshower is one of them. I don't think I've ever had one. I've come across it. I've definitely seen photos of them. I may have had one at some, like, random after-party festival room where I can't really remember because I was so incredibly tired. But I don't think so. I don't remember ever having an Inshower. And yeah, if someone can prove me wrong, please do so, because I'd love to rejog my memory. But yeah, I think this is my very, very first Inshower, and it's definitely going to be something that's on my radar from now on, because that is a beautiful whiskey. That is a glorious discovery to have made. All right, well, Inshower is one of the distilleries that was under the Bell's banner for a long, long time. It's now, Diageo, as Bell's was brought out by Guinness, and then Guinness by Diageo, or DCL that turned into Diageo. Anyway, funnily enough, same as Duffton. So we've started off this Outturn with two Spacesides that used to be done by Arthur Bell and were in the Bell's blend. I don't know if they still are in the Bell's blend, perhaps. I couldn't tell you. But I think that's a really interesting little link there. And two completely different flavour profiles, despite being similar ages from the same region and similar ages. That's amazing, actually. I didn't really even notice that. Yeah, similar ages, similar region, completely different flavour. Same cask type. That's kind of cool. Yeah. Well, whiskey number 3 today. We're moving on to a juicy oak and vanilla. This is the Silky Smooth. The aroma had the very pleasant scent of genuine vanilla extract, followed by rose petals, banana syrup, and pear juice, as well as cantaloupe melon with honey and lime. On the palate, milky and silky like banana custard, with dates and honeycomb, but with a surprising, clean, crisp finish that, like a pear secco, a marriage of pear-based cider and bubbly prosecco. Water added comforting toasted golden brown granola with coconut flakes, chopped walnuts, and cinnamon on the nose, while the taste was now that of creamy sweet marzipan fudge, orange shortbread cookies, or clementine jelly, all served with a glass of Monbazilac wine. Well, I don't know what Monbazilac wine is. I've never heard of it before in my life. Yeah, I will try and look it up before the Outturn preview tasting, because I'm sure someone will ask me. Yeah, maybe I'll drop a note in the comments or in the description with what on earth Monbazilac wine is. Sounds... I don't know. You can't really... it doesn't matter what it sounds like. There's nothing you can really garner about the flavour of a wine by the name of it. Like, what does Oloroso taste like? It tastes like an Oloroso. It's you know... the word doesn't give you any clues, Adam, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, Silky Smooth is a delectable looking little thing. It is first fill bourbon barrel, a 9-year-old Highland whiskey. So we're stepping outside of the bounds of Speyside, and this is distilled on the 25th of October 2011. Cool. Distillery code 122.41, an outturn of 213 bottles. And this is bottled at 58.6 ABV. 58.6. Let's crack her open. So. Glorious pop. Quite the colour for a 9-year-old. I guess it's... yeah, it was first fill, right? Yeah. Makes some sense. So, this is available right now for $159.91. So yeah, only existing members can buy this one. Not only is it below the $180 threshold, it's over $20 below the $180 threshold. Amazing. Yeah. Cool. Trying to find the banana custard. Yeah, I love bananas and custard, but yeah, I'm not finding it on the nose. It does specifically say on the palate for the banana and custard, so maybe I just have to wait a little bit. Pear juice, cantaloupe, yeah. It's hard to say anything smells like cantaloupe anymore, unless it really, really smells like cantaloupe. I had a sake earlier today, which just was straight up cantaloupe. It was amazing. All right. Oh yeah. Bananas and custard. What do you know? Oh, wow. Okay, so I have to be honest. The nose is great. It's good. It's not, you know, it's not anything overly special for me on the initial nosing. Maybe now I've tasted it and go back, I'll find more. The initial palate was like, oh yeah, this is kind of safe. This whiskey, it's good. It's good whiskey. And I was about to be like, cool. It's, you know, it's one of those SMWS whiskeys where you can tell it's incredibly good quality, but it's just not necessarily for me. It's not screaming my name. However, it all changed in an instant. Like, there's like a second wave of flavour on the palate there. It's not a finish so much, because it was still in my mouth when it happened. It was just like a, okay, here's the starter. It's, you know, it's nothing overly special. It's just like maybe a simple tomato soup or something, and then, oh, now we're going to give you like the best rack of lamb you've ever had. Like, it's one of those kind of psych out, sort of the first round isn't how you think it's going to go. That second wave of flavour, I'm going to see if I can recapture that. That was incredible. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, it's all about round two. Round one's just a warm-up. Round two is where it's at. That is... Oh. Yeah. Yeah, it is sort of clotted cream, almond paste, It's kind of sweet, but not overly sweet, but kind of more of a richness to it that is just quite something. That is nice. Okay, let's see if I can figure out actually what flavors I'm getting. It's hard because I kind of just want to like skip past the first bit and get to that second bit, but maybe I should pay more attention to that first round. Maybe there's more to it that I'm kind of just discounting a little. Good mango. Okay. All right. I'm getting more of an idea now of how that happens. It's a really interesting progression of flavors because it starts off lighter, a little bit of like mango, like I said, a little bit floral, and then rolls into this beautiful orange zest, which then becomes an orange creamsicle, which then rolls into the bananas and custard, and then rolls into this big, beautiful sort of I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's almost like a what's that? Meringue. It's like a meringue. You know, it's not overly sweet, but it is quite rich. But it's also weirdly light at that same time. And now I understand the path that it takes. I've got much more appreciation for that first set of flavors as well, because it kind of, I can see how they're evolving and working. This is really interesting, really quite something. This is quite the whiskey. Cool. Orange shortbread cookies. There we go. Clementine jelly. And again, that Mon Basilac wine, which I have no idea what it is. Walnut, cinnamon. Yeah, okay. This is the most interesting melding of like a strong, like confident spirit with that sort of quite strong bourbon cask influence. Again, like it's a first fill bourbon barrel, but it's only 9 years, and it's with a spirit which can really stand up to that barrel in a very contrasting / complementary way. It's like, you know, it's not just going with the barrel's flavors, but it's also not fighting them. It's kind of like dancing with them. Wow. I'm going to come out and say it. This is the best whiskey for $160 that I've had in a long time. Wow. Yeah. All right. Well, apparently, not only have I discovered that I really like the Inshower, I really like this one as well. And this is another distillate, which I'm not that familiar with. It's from a distillery, however, that I am very familiar with. It's a Loch Lomond, but it's a different Loch Lomond. And we've had many, what's the code, 122? Yeah, we've had many 122s in the past. And those 122s have been peated for the most part. I think we might have had one unpeated one. And yeah, if you search SMWS 122 in the internet and look up people's lists of what they think all the distilleries are, this is one of the ones which is commonly wrong, because it often only lists one of the two options that it could be. So a little bit of background for you. When the SMWS picks codes for the distilleries, some distilleries will have more than one code. And some distilleries that you'd think should have more than one code sometimes don't. And the reason behind that is they actually put a definition of how a distillery gains a second code. And it's not to do with ingredients. It's not to do whether the barley has been peated or not. It's to do with production method. Is it the same distillation techniques that are going into making this whiskey or not? Because if it's a different still, or if it's a different production method completely, then it may as well be at a different distillery, right? Many distilleries actually use the same ingredients. They get the same barley from the same place. The amount of places that get Port Ellen maltings, for example, like the whiskies are all completely different despite having the same ingredients. So the ingredients aren't as important as the techniques, I would say. So yeah, some distilleries like Glenturret or Ruadmore are both distillery 16 in that case. I think it's 16. They, even though they're one's peated, one's unpeated, they share a code. Loch Lomond has several codes because the production methods are quite different. And in this case, 122 is sometimes referred to as Crofton-Gee, which is apparently how you pronounce it. I learned that from, I can't remember the guy's name now. Lovely folk. He's from Lady Rattray, who was visiting for the festival a couple of years ago. And I've always said Crofton-Gee, or apparently it's Crofton-Gee, which makes sense. It sounds more Scottish as well, doesn't it? But this is the unpeated version of Crofton-Gee, which at Loch Lomond is actually known as Glen Douglas, which is much easier to pronounce. And in fact, when I was looking for information on Glen Douglas, I found out that there is a gentleman called Glen Douglas who I believe lives in Saskatchewan. If you're watching, Glen, that would be an amazing coincidence. Oh, yeah. That's really nice. So what makes this different from the other Loch Lomond distillates? Well, it's actually using the same sort of hybrid column pot still as Inshower. However, they take a different cut. I think it's actually lower, the height, but they also use different strains of yeast. The idea is to make it a little bit less, I think the idea is to make it a little bit less nutty, a little more spicy. I'm not entirely certain on that. One thing I can tell you, interestingly, is that they've only ever released 2 official Glen Douglases. One was 5 years old and one was 4 years old. So this is actually approximately twice the age of the official bottling Glen Douglases, which for a 9-year-old is quite a feat. Yeah. Well, if this sounds good to you, then pick it up because it's an absolute bargain. It really is. Yeah. And we're going to move on now to the other end of the spectrum, because the next whiskey is a black label, and that is mythical and magical. The nose neat was a dream, bold, elegant, and refined, with a deep, fruity sweetness, like one can find in old vintage Armagnac, with notes of apricots, oak spices, and caramel. Rich with just enough spice to be interesting without overpowering the palate, and enough sweetness to keep us coming back for more, like churros dipped into a spicy chocolate sauce or a 3-spice creme brulee. A drop of water and the aroma moved onto an old rum agricole with scent of cinnamon, vanilla, muscovado sugar, hints of tobacco, and fresh Thai lemongrass. To taste, plenty of dark fruit, dark chocolate, and a perfectly made cafe mocha with a layer of espresso. Ooh, so we've had a few now whiskies from this distillery around this age, and every single one of them has been spectacular. I think this might be the oldest. I think we've had like 22 or 24 maybe, and now we've got a 26. And it's not very common, but this is actually from the Old and Dignified. It's got this nice sort of maroon colour. This is probably the least common flavour profile that we see here from the SMWS. So this was distilled on the 24th of November, 1994. It's from the Speyside region. It's from a first fill toasted oak hogshead. Now that has me a little worried. 26 years in a first fill toasted oak hogshead? That's a long time. I hope these guys know what they're doing. I shouldn't be too worried though, because I'll get into the distillery and why that shouldn't be too much of a worry later. This is bottled at 57.4% ABV, and it is an Outturn of 205 bottles. From a hogshead, 205 is very low, so this is a lot of angel share here. This is definitely changed somewhat. Let's open this one up and see what we're dealing with here. It looks pretty dark through the bottle. All right. Very satisfying colour. yeah, that smells like old whiskey. Smells like leather-bound books and rich mahogany. And I feel like I'm quoting Anchorman right now. Oh, and there's a little sort of old mint and tobacco, sort of like menthol pipe smoke in the back. It does have an Armagnac kind of nose. I have to agree with that. Yes. Oh yes, this is a treat. This is a delight. I could nose this for 1,000 years. However, if I did that, it would basically be just like teasing myself for 1,000 years, because the nose is incredibly inviting. As satisfying as it is, it does feel like it's just trying to like draw you in for a sip. Like it legitimately could be a form of torture that should be banned as an international war crime, to just, nose this whiskey but never let them taste it. Oh. Well, I'm going to stop teasing myself and go in for a sip. Wow. I don't think I've ever had a whiskey that feels this simultaneously old and young. Big, it's bold, it's spicy, it is brazen, it is all of those things. It is weirdly fresh and peppery, but it's coffee, it's leather, it really is. It's dark chocolate, it's mocha, it's really interesting. Yeah, it's like one of those hot pepper spiced sort of Mexican hot chocolates. This is, you know the whole midlife crisis thing, right? Where a guy in his, I don't know when midlife is anymore. Now that I'm officially in my mid-30s, I want to say 50s, just so it feels further away, but it's probably 40s, might be 30s. Anyway, whenever the midlife crisis is supposed to happen, this feels like it's like a delayed midlife crisis, like someone in their 60s who's suddenly cracked and decided, you know what, I've never done anything like this before, but today I'm going to buy a speedboat and teach myself how to water ski. This is the most adventurous old man I have ever met. This is quite cool. If I was to put a personality on this whiskey, that's exactly someone who's like sold their golf clubs for hurling sticks. I don't know if I've got anything else to say about this whiskey. I just kind of want to turn out the lights and just give myself 20 minutes with this. But I have more whiskies to present, so I should probably tell you more about it. For a start, it's already available, unless it's already sold out, because it's a black label, it's limited. We didn't get as much of this one. So the couple of bottles that maybe, we definitely got at least 2 bottles that were left for online. And if there's one of those 2 left, you can get it right now at strathliquor.com for $492.96. And yeah, it's worth it. If I was looking for a whiskey in the $500 range to buy right now to treat myself, this would be it. This would be it. Yeah, and I feel like that window is a very short opportunity, so get it while you can. This is... Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of anything that would scratch this kind of flavour profile itch the way that this whiskey does. Old but exciting. That is what this is. This is the 295th. Yeah, so we had a few from this distillery. From Distillery 35. Oh. It's everything I've ever wanted in an Armagnac that Armagnac has never quite reached, that this has managed to just get one of those like extra long extender things to, like, you know, the boxing glove on a hinge thing. It's reaching places I didn't think could be reached. Anyway, Distillery 35 is Glenmoray, a wonderful distillery which used to actually be under the same ownership banner as the SMWS for a short period of time, which is why we've seen quite a few of them, and I think that is an amazing thing, and one of the best things to have come from that short period in the SMWS's history. The supply of Glenmorays that the SMWS had is just spectacular. And this is, up there with the best, probably the best. I don't know. I'd have to do them as side by side, but yeah, this is good. This is good, and this is almost gone. I'm going to save a little bit for after this tasting. Mythical and Magical, 35.295, 492.96. What a spectacular special whiskey. And we move on from this to our next whiskey today, from the deep, rich and dried fruits flavour profile, the rather bizarrely named Oven Ready Moomin. And if you've not come across the Moomins before, well, this is what they look like. A warm, inviting, and rather dense sherry profile greeted the panel at first nosing. Creme brulee, caramel sauce, freshly dipped toffee apples, allspice, buttery shortbread, and dark fruit stewed in Armagnac. Some touches of fig compote and plum wine underneath. Reduction offers spiced mango lassi, rapeseed oil, leathery mineral notes, and wild strawberry and tomato vine. In the mouth, we initially noted the savoury richness of freshly baked brown bread, bananas flambéed with brown sugar, chocolate sauce, herbal cocktail bitters, and singed raisins. With water, we got bitter chocolate, roasted aubergine, natural tar, ointments, espresso, and thicker notes of burlap, earthy dunnage, and dried wild mushrooms. Well, Oven Ready Moomin. One of my favourite names for a while. I just finished off a bottle of one of my favouritely named whiskies recently from the SMWS. It was Dystopian Sideman Lubricant. I really hope someone found that bottle in the recycling and had a good laugh at that. But yeah, Oven Ready Moomin. Probably my new favourite. An outturn of 622. Yeah, that's a lot of bottles, but that's because this is from a First Fill X Sherry Butt. It is a Speyside whiskey that was distilled on the 9th of May 2012 and matured in that sherry butt for 8 years. It came out at 59.8% ABV, and that is cask number 10724. This is, well, yeah, off the bat, bizarre name. And Kelly was saying that they were trying to find out some of the information about why it was named this. And that pointed me to something that I have just newly discovered of this trend in Japan of making Moomin-shaped confectionery goods, breads, and when I looked, there's a lot of making bento boxes for kids, for school kids, where they make the rice into shapes of things. A lot of Moomin rice. Why? I don't know. Why it was named after that? I still don't know. Moomins aren't really a thing over here, are they? It's, I think, a Swedish cartoon. You would have seen the clip, not a clip, but an image there of some of the characters from Moomins. They look like weird albino hippos. I'm not that familiar with the cartoon. Perhaps they forage for mushrooms or something. Or maybe there's something about that. I'm not sure. One thing I do know that I think is quite lovely, and I'll put the picture up right now, is there's Moomin-themed cafes in Hong Kong and Tokyo. Here's the one in Tokyo. and they're dubbed as loneliness cafes. As you can see, there's giant life-size Moomins that you can sit and have a cup of tea with. And if that's not the most Japanese thing ever, I don't know what is. So yeah, if you're ever feeling lonely and you're in Tokyo, go have tea with a Moomin. And if that sounds like too far to travel, maybe this will keep you company. Oven Ready Moomin, an 8-year-old from Distillery 107. This can only be good. I love this distillery. I love this cask type from this distillery especially. Beautiful. Holy moly. Whew, that ain't no Moomin. That I don't know what that is. It's a little bit more I don't know, punchy than a Moomin. I always thought of Moomins as kind of soft and squishy and adorable. This is a little bit more, bizarre and aggressive on the nose. Not aggressive in a bad way, but in a like a very not aggressive, energetic maybe. I'm trying to think of a classic cartoon or a kids show that would have a character that I think would suit the nose of this whiskey. I want to say Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men, but they're potentially a little bit too trippy. And if you've never seen Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men, look them up on YouTube. There's an old British show, Watch with Mother, which is about as British as it sounds. Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men it feels like you're on drugs watching it. Like, I've never done drugs, but I feel like I know what it's like just from watching Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men. They speak to each other in this weird language where they just sound... I remember it still, they go, flobba dobba dobba dobba, flobba dobba dobba. And then they've got this friend who's a weed who just goes, weed! It's bizarre. But honestly, this nose is a little bizarre anyway. So I think this is more of a Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Man than a Moomin. Oh, yeah, okay. So, back to the real world. Yeah, I definitely get toffee apples. That is a great note for the nose. Creme brulee, caramel sauce, all those things, yeah. Allspice, yeah. I'm getting pecans, toasted pecans on the nose. Yeah, it's like a pecan date pie, like pecan pie with dates in it. Do I mean dates? Do I mean figs? Which one's which? I think I mean dates. Yeah, I do. I mean dates. Yes. Served with prune juice. And sugar syrup. Ooh, that is straight up sherry. It doesn't actually say what kind of sherry, but does it? Does it? Oh, it says on here either. No, just says First Select Sherry. Yeah, I mean, Oloroso is always the safest bet. It seems to be the most popular, followed by Pedro Jimenez, and then, yeah, I mean, you don't often see Fino or Manzanillo or anything. I think this is most likely going to be Oloroso. It's got that nuttiness to it that Oloroso has. But I tell you what, this for my money, this is way better than the closest approximation you can get from official bottling from this distillery. So they make a cask strength 10-year-old, and this being a cask strength 8-year-old, it would be the most similar thing. This is way better. This for me tastes much more like their 15-year-old, but at cask strength. And in case you're wondering, what are you going on about, Adam? Just tell us what the distillery is so we can figure out what you're trying to say. It's Glenarchy. Wonderful Speyside distillery that was quite recently taken over by Billy Walker and given the Billy Walker treatment, which means stepping up their cask game and starting making peated whiskey, apparently, which will be coming out in the next year or two. They are not afraid to to use some good quality casks and let them influence the whiskey quite a lot. And I think Glenarchy stands up to that quite a lot. The 15-year-old, in my mind especially, is the quintessential Glenarchy from the new range. And yeah, it's a huge compliment from me to say that this reminds me of the Glenarchy 15. And like I said, just at cask strength. It's like the perfect hybrid between the cask strength 10 and the 15. Yeah, and you can get this Glenarchy right now at strathlager.com, so long as it's not sold out. Hey, and you know what? It's only available to existing members. It's under $180. This is $173.83. Magnificent. Oh yeah. If this isn't like sell out, go to a draw whiskey at the tasting on Thursday, I will be quite surprised. Yeah. If you're looking for a hit of sherry, sherried whiskey, not actual sherry, this is a fantastic option, and I heavily recommend this if you are a sherried whiskey fan. And from one beautiful, rich style of whiskey to another, we're into the peat next, and interestingly, we're going to heavily peated next for the flavour profile, and we're going to enjoy some sweet smoked salmon jerky. The most bleeding obvious first. Plenty of smoke, a huge campfire on the beach using driftwood from an old wooden boat, smoked almonds, smoked salmon, and roasted pears with walnuts and honey. Sensationally sweet and smoky on the palate, a beauty and a beast. Difficult to describe, but here we go. Char-grilled tuna with brinjal pickle, made with aubergines and traditional Indian spices, followed by cinnamon caramelized apple rings. With water, crispy honey-glazed bacon and bramble jam on singed brioche. Awesome texture, with that combination of sweet and smoke, balsamic glazed cipollini onions, and sweet smoked salmon jerky. This small batch single malt was created from a combination of second fill Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez sherry hogsheads, as well as Richard hogsheads. Yes, that's right. Shock, shock, horror, horror. This is not a single cask. This is a small batch single malt from SMWS. Yeah, this is the first time we've ever seen one of these in BC, or in Canada in general, I think, and they're very, very few and far between. I can only assume they happen when they're given an offer they can't refuse of a parcel which they're contractually obliged to blend together into a single malt rather than single cask releases. And this sounds particularly special. So we already know the SMWS is very, very good at blending casks together because, well, their small batch blended malts are absolutely fabulous. And we'll be having more of those this year. I have on good authority, so if you're a fan of them. But this is same idea, but all from one distillery. And it tells us which distillery, which is nice as well. This is an outturn of 2,333 bottles. Like I said, from a mixture of different sherry casks, Oloroso and PX, and some Richard hogsheads as well. The youngest cask, remember this is a mix of casks, so there might be some older, that could be a lot older, but the youngest at the very least is 7 years aged. And this was released in celebration of the Isla Festival, the Festival, in 2021. And it was bottled at 59.6, and it is from distillery number 10. Yes, it's got a picture. Yes, it's from a distillery that we all love. And yes, it's a Brave New World. Single malt. A single malt from the SMWS. I think it was probably something that isn't on the bottle here as well. I can tell you, yes, it is from the 17th of October 2013. That is the missing part, which is only available in the book's information. Ooh. Bottoms up. Lovely. Ooh. I'd be very intrigued to know, Robin Kelly, if you're watching, please leave us a comment, what the rationale was of going for the heavily peated whiskey before the peated whiskey, which is number 7 in today's lineup. Yeah, maybe you thought this one was going to be sweeter or something. You want to end on a savoury note? I'd be intrigued to find out. Or maybe you've tried them and you knew that this one was actually, despite being heavily peated, well, it didn't actually taste as peated as the next one. Anyway. That is interesting. That is really interesting. I wonder what's going on here, because Distillery 10 is well known for putting heavily peated whiskies into bourbon casks and unpeated whiskies into sherry casks. So it's really interesting to have a whiskey from them that is both heavily peated and sherried. It's not the first time we've had it before, but it's still very interesting. I still very much enjoy it. And it is remarkably salmony. It's very smoked seafoody. Smoked oysters almost as well. With lemon juice and capers. Yeah, it reminds me of walking from the train station to the beach in... it was either Zeebrugge or Ostend in Belgium. I think it's Ostend. Yeah, I want to say it's Ostend. Which is a really cool little walk, because you walk past all of the little fish stalls, and they're not like wholesale fishmongers, they're like snack stalls. Like, you stop at them and you get this little paper plate with like random little bits of different types of seafood. It's like walking past those. It's really, on a summer day. This isn't a dark, deep, wintry smoked salmon kind of a thing. This is smoked salmon in the height of August. And as I nosed it again there, I got a very weirdly nostalgic note of balloons. It smells like I'm inflating balloons for a birthday party. Oh. And it tastes like sherry soaked charcoal. Oh yeah. Yeah, that is. I don't know why this exists, but I'm glad that it does, because this is really quite cool. Nice and complex, as you've got 3 different cask types going on in here, but at the same time, very smoke forward. Like, don't get me wrong, if you are not a fan of peated whiskies, this is not for you. Buy something else. This is not something that you should... Ooh, that's interesting. Huh. Weird. If I have a sip of water after taking this sip, and the finish lasts forever, by the way, even after the water, it's still kind of there, morphs the flavour, becomes really ashy. It's like the goat's cheese rolled in ash. Yeah, water really brings out the ashy notes. That's really interesting. Kind of a nice parallel to what actually happens if you pour water on a bonfire. Yeah, and it's not a fluke. It happened again. That's really cool. I recommend trying that at home. That is super neat. Yeah, so this is a Bunnahabhain. This is a small batch cask strength Bunnahabhain from the SMWS. I actually came across this exact bottling on Reddit months ago, and someone from the SMWS in America was like, "What's going on here? This isn't a single cask, but it's not a blended malt. Can anyone give me more information?" And I was like, "No, I've never come across this before in my life. This is a very strange and bizarre thing. I wonder if we'll ever have it one day." That day has come. We have it, and it is cool. It may be weird, it may be unexpected in its style, but in its flavour it is oh so familiar and oh so beautiful. Oh yes, and it is available right now, strictly one per member though. One bottle limit, $221.65 is the price. So if there's any left, again, strathliquor.com/SMWS should be your first port of call. Available right now. Purchase online, pick up in store, or have it delivered to your door. Almost rhymed a little bit. Okay, so that is 6 of 7 whiskies, and we are bringing it all together right now with the finale of the March 2022 Outturn, the Cheshire Cat. Meow. A sweet and smoky passion fruit and honeycomb parfait with fresh raspberries greeted the panel and left us all wearing that broad, silly grin of total satisfaction. On the palate, like a wake-up call with a kick of smoky honey clusters, as well as chorizo bites in sweet and spicy sauce. Water restrained the smoke to a glass of perfectly chilled Puy Fumé with aromas of minerals and smoked lemons. We were now all snoozing. Swedish, sweet, smoky tobacco pouches coming in various fruity floral flavours like rosehips, white clover and rooibos provided us with a clean, smokeless experience. Interesting. Well, the Cheshire Cat grins. This is an Islay. This is from the 1st of September 2008, aged for 11 years in a refill ex-bourbon barrel. Hogshead, my mistake. It is cask strength, of course, at 58.8%. It is 53.323, one of 293 bottles. All right, I do have a glass. Good. Almost. Let's try again. There we go. Nice. Actually has the colour of a Puy Fumé, white wine there. That is... Ooh. Not what I expected on the nose. Maybe just after coming off that Bunnahabhain just now, maybe I'm a little desensitised to smoke, but that is a crisp, clean ocean smell. That smells like a walk along the boardwalk. A stroll along the boardwalk, along the promenade at, I don't know, not Blackpool. It's cleaner than Blackpool. No offence to Blackpool, but you're a bit dirty. Yeah, it's nicer than Cleethorpes as well. I want to say Brighton, as much as it makes me sad to admit that Brighton is a little bit nicer than most of the more northern seaside towns. Yeah, I'm gonna say Brighton. It's cleaner. It's cleaner than Cleethorpes. Damn sight cleaner than Skegness. Yeah, someone's power washed some of the mollusks off of this one. Yeah. It's brisk. Whereas the last whiskey, like I said, it felt very summery somehow. This one feels very wintry. This feels like it's a hair above freezing. It's maybe 2 or 3 degrees, and that cold ocean wind is sort of managing to find its way through your scarf, which you've wrapped around your face, and sort of into your nostrils, and is really sort of waking you up. It's very, okay. It's the cold shower of peated whiskies. Yeah. It even says a wake-up call with a kick of smoky honey clusters. Yeah, that's really cool. It tastes really oceanic but clean. It's interesting. Yeah, it's a more pointed, more arrow-like flavour profile than the last one. The last one was quite broad, and this one's very piercing. Yeah, like I said, it's like the cold wind penetrating the scarf or the balaclava. Okay, the smoke is definitely coming through a bit more now as I'm getting used to it. I'm getting more of a tropical note now on this one as well. Light, bright, pineapples, but tinned pineapples, not fresh. Pineapples in syrup. Winter pineapples. What else should I be looking for? Let's have a look. Tobacco, yeah. But it's tobacco, but it's clean tobacco. It's just a bizarrely clean whiskey. I'm not even sure what I mean by that, but it feels so true. It's like, yes, it's tobacco, but it's tobacco from like a hookah. Like it's like a full-on... Yeah. Full-on hookah. It's tobacco, but it's a little floral. It's a little sweet. It's not dark and it's not as deep. It's coastal, but it's not like a smoky, fishy kind of a thing. Little tiny touch of like a slight medicinal note to it, maybe even like a tar note, but very, very slight. It's clean tar. It's like that thing which I don't want to get into politics, but I'm not sure clean oil really exists. But yeah, it tastes like clean oil. Very nice. Very, very nice indeed. And if you're not familiar with Distillery 53, well, it's definitely the Islay whiskey that we're most familiar with here at the SMWS in Canada, especially of recent times. Like I said, this is 323 is the cask number on this, 53.323. This is a Kalila, the powerhouse of Islay. It makes the most amount of whiskey. It's the biggest output distillery on the island, and it's Mr. Consistent. It doesn't have flaws. Like I can't ever remember having a bad Kalila. I'm not sure I ever have. And if I have, it didn't have the word Kalila on the bottle, or it didn't have a 53 on it. It was hidden under some weird, like, mystery malt label. They're really, really good. They know what they're doing. A bit of a factory. Like, it's not the most picturesque distillery in Islay by any means, but yeah, they make phenomenal whiskey. And this is the least Kalila I've had in a little while for my current point in time. Like I might have a completely different impression when I taste it again on Thursday, but right now it doesn't feel as familiar. It doesn't feel that Kalila-y. It feels, yeah, it's more refreshing. It feels different. It feels kind of more interesting and exciting than the last few Kalilas I've had, just because it's a bit different. So if you're a fan of Kalila, but you feel like you've got a lot of Kalilas on your shelf and like you don't want to add something else that is going to be too similar to what you already have, well, this is a good Kalila to add to the collection, I would say. I think this is a fantastic one to have alongside other Kalilas, just as a different point of interest. This is what happens if you give Kalila a change of clothes and a haircut and a nice shower. And a nice squeeze of lemon juice. All right, so this Kalila is available, theoretically, unless it's already sold out. It is the end of the video, so hopefully not, for your sake. $225.13 is the price at strathliquor.com/SMWS. $225.13. And that is our full release. Thank you very much for joining me here again on YouTube. Again, I will continue to do these videos for the time being. I don't know if I'll be able to do them forever. They do take up quite a lot of time, and as things are starting to open up and I'm doing more and more in-person tastings, there may be a point where I have to say, something's got to give. But for now, at least, I will try and continue to do these videos for as long as I'm able to. I love doing them. I love getting emails from members who are saying that they watched the video and it helped them choose the whiskey, and there's something about being able to have tastings with people on the other side of the planet, even, which is still quite special. But yeah. Thank you for joining me. It's been wonderful. A special thank you, of course, to Rob and Kelly over currently in Edinburgh. I'll be seeing Rob soon in a couple of months. Very excited about that. And of course, a shout out to our partner stores. That is Kensington Wine Market over in Calgary, Keg & Cork in Edmonton, and just across the water in Vancouver. We have, of course, Legacy. So a huge shout out to our partners. If there's anything that you're looking to get that is already sold out on our website, give one of our partner stores a call. They might be able to help you out. I'm really looking forward to hosting people in person again on Thursday. We will be, fingers crossed, unless anything horrible goes wrong, we'll be doing another tasting again in the end of March. We're doing a Sunday tasting for the April preview tasting. And then for the May preview tasting, we're going to go back to doing 2 full-size Outturn preview tastings. So we'll be able to accommodate up to about 90 people. So yeah. I guess I should start a bit of a membership drive and try and get people revved up and ready for this. We are ready to welcome you back safely, and looking forward to it. And of course, the Highland Games is happening in May, and I'm here to announce the SMWS will be attending the Highland Games. We have a tasting set up where we'll be presenting some of the whiskies that we were actually planning to present and release at the Victoria Whisky Festival. So it's just being delayed to the Highland Games. So members and guests alike, you should absolutely get tickets to the Highland Games. It's going to be a hell of a tasting. It's not often you get to have a tasting in a tent with sheep and bagpipes surrounding you. It's just wonderful. And, big burly men in kilts tossing cabers and people dancing. And it's just a wonderful thing. Plus, not particularly Scottish, but the mini donuts are pretty good too. So yeah. Thanks for joining us. We will see you on the next video. It's been an honor. Slàinte, good night. This has been your Outturn.
I'll watch your back and keep it true. I'll make you mine. We'll struggle through. And before you crack your fortune's true. So take my hand, take my hand, take my hand, take my hand. I'll make a stand for once and all. I'll sacrifice with no remorse. Before I'm through, I'll walk hand in hand with you. So take my hand, take my hand, take my hand, take my hand. stake my